My mom sent a message. You're cut from the house. We don't trust you anymore. I just wrote back. Makes sense. Then I quietly terminated my grant authority and recalled a $24,000 advance I had issued. 2 days later, their financial advisor emailed me. We've hit a major issue. Please call immediately. I didn't. A week later, my mom gave me 24 hours to get out of the house. She didn't even call. Just sent a message while I was sitting on the porch drinking coffee. You have until tomorrow to leave. Ryan is moving in. We don't trust you anymore. I stared at it for a long time. Not because I didn't understand what it meant, but because I understood exactly what it meant. My parents were cutting me off. From the house. From their trust. From them. I didn't reply with questions or anger or an explanation. I didn't beg or argue. I just wrote back. Makes sense. That was it. By 5 p.m. that day, I was out. Took only what was mine, left the rest. I didn't say a word to Ryan. Didn't wait for him to show up, though I knew he would. He probably couldn't wait to toss his bags in the master bedroom like he owned the place. My parents hadn't just given him the house, they handed him victory. He'd been playing them for months, and now he won. I stayed at my Aunt Laura's place. She didn't ask questions. Just gave me the spare room and told me I could stay as long as I needed. She's my mom's older sister, and they haven't talked much since the move to Portugal, but she's sharp. I think she knew something was off from the start. That night, I lay on the guest bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to replay the last few months. Trying to pinpoint the exact moment things started shifting. It all traced back to Ryan. He never liked that I was the one they trusted to take care of the house. They said it was temporary, just until they settled in Europe, but I knew it wasn't just that. I'd been the one handling the upkeep, coordinating with their financial advisor Dennis, taking care of insurance, maintenance, even utilities. I kept things running smoothly. Ryan hated it. He'd always been the golden child in their eyes, until they finally had to rely on one of us for something real. And suddenly, I was the dependable one. He started calling them more often. Always when I wasn't around. Telling them how I was treating the house like a party pad. That I was blowing through money. That I was letting strangers stay over. That I had friends using their cars. None of it was true. But they were halfway across the world, and Ryan knew how to play innocent. It wasn't hard to sell them on a fantasy version of me if it meant he got the house. And a piece of the trust. So while he lied, I just kept maintaining everything. Quietly. Responsibly. Like they asked me to. They never even confronted me. Just the message. You have until tomorrow to leave. Ryan is moving in. We don't trust you anymore. I wasn't just hurt, I was done. And I had one card left to play. Before I left, I logged into the estate portal. I had administrative access to their property trust, which included funds for emergency home repairs. I terminated my own authority. And I recalled a $24,000 advance I had issued for a roofing project that Dennis had pre-approved. I didn't owe them that money. It was part of the planned budget. But I wasn't about to leave it there for Ryan to burn through. 2 days later, I got an email from Dennis. Subject: Urgent, immediate issue. It read, Matthew, we have a serious problem with the property fund. Please call me as soon as possible. I didn't respond. That week, I didn't hear from my parents. Not even a passive-aggressive message. But I heard from neighbors. Ryan had moved in. Alone at first. Then with his girlfriend, who, last I heard, was 2 months behind on her own rent and drank boxed wine by the gallon. The lawn went uncut. The trash piled up. The security system I set up was disconnected. Music blasted at night, and someone filed a noise complaint. 7 days after I left, I drove by the house late at night and parked across the street. It looked sad. Lights on in every room like a party was happening. Empty beer cans on the porch rail. An ashtray balanced on the windowsill. And their car, their prized convertible, parked half on the lawn like an afterthought. I didn't knock. I didn't call. Instead, the next morning, I returned with a camera. I placed it behind a vent in the detached garage, facing the side door. Another one went behind the shrubs with a view of the back patio. A third, smaller one, I tucked under the deck, angled toward the living room window. I didn't care about catching them doing something illegal. I just needed to show the truth. Because even if my parents didn't want to believe me, They couldn't ignore what they saw. I hit record. Walked away. Now it was just a matter of time. 3 days after the cameras went live, I had more footage than I knew what to do with. The house had turned into a frat cave. Ryan and his girlfriend, Maya, I think her name is, were basically squatting. At least 6 different people were coming and going, drinking on the back patio, blasting music at all hours. One guy was passed out on a lawn chair at noon with no shirt and a half-eaten sandwich on his chest. I watched it all from my aunt's laptop. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed to. Every clip felt like another nail in the coffin. Trash bags piled on the back steps. A broken kitchen window that no one even bothered to cover. Someone urinating off the deck. Real classy. But the worst was what they did to the interior. Through the living room window, I could see the furniture had been rearranged like a dorm room setup. Couch cushions on the floor, coffee table gone, and what looked like a beer pong table in its place. One night, I saw Ryan hurl something across the room. Next day, a flat screen was missing from the wall. They were destroying it. My parents' house. The one I kept spotless for over a year. They had no idea. So I finally reached out. Not to Dennis. Not to Ryan. To my parents. I sent one message. No explanation. Just a link to a folder of selected footage. I called it, "What you're missing." Then I waited. 4 hours, nothing. No reply. No call. I figured maybe they blocked me or were too proud to open it. But that night, around 2 a.m., my phone rang. My mom. First time since she kicked me out. I didn't pick up. She left a voicemail. Her voice was quiet. "We need to talk." Next morning, they tried again. I ignored both calls. Then an email came through from my dad. One line. "We saw the videos. We were wrong." They didn't even try to defend Ryan. They knew. The footage was brutal. 2 days later, they sent me another message. "We're taking care of it. Please don't go to the police. We'll handle Ryan ourselves." I didn't ask what they meant. But I knew what came next wasn't going to be pretty. That same afternoon, Ryan stormed out of the house during a rainstorm, bag over his shoulder, shouting into his phone. Maya followed him, dragging a suitcase across the lawn, screaming. One of the cameras caught the moment he kicked the front door in frustration, then limped away barefoot. I checked the family trust account that night. Ryan's access was gone. So was Maya's. My parents cut them off, completely. No more payouts, no more favors. Later that week, they sent me another message. "You can come back now. We want to fix this. Please." But I didn't want to come back. I told them I didn't want to argue, but the house didn't feel like mine anymore. Not after everything. I'd find my own place. They could keep the house. I'd just check in on it now and then, make sure no more cockroach invasions were happening. My mom didn't write back after that. My dad did. Just one line. "We're sorry." I believed them. But it didn't change anything. I signed a lease for a 1-bedroom near my work and moved out of my aunt's place. Life started to feel normal again. Quiet. Which was nice. For a while. Then Ryan found a way to remind me he wasn't done yet. For about a month, things were quiet. My new apartment was nothing special, a little overpriced, cramped, kind of smelled like old paint, but it was mine. No one could kick me out. No one could gaslight me. And more importantly, no one could throw surprise parties on the back patio while I was trying to sleep. I kept to myself, worked during the day, and every other weekend I drove by the old house just to make sure everything was still standing. No one was living there. My parents had someone clean the interior, fix the busted door, and replace the broken window. The place was frozen in time, like it was waiting for someone who wasn't coming back. Then one Sunday afternoon, I pulled up and saw it. Trash in the yard. At first, I figured maybe the wind blew something over. But no. There were beer bottles, empty fast food bags, a broken chair, and a pair of what looked like soaked jeans hanging from a tree branch. It wasn't random. Someone had done this on purpose. I walked around the property. Backyard had even more, ripped up newspapers, pizza boxes, and a knocked over trash bin that didn't belong to the house. I knew immediately who it was. Ryan. I checked the cameras. They were still running, still recording. Sure enough, the night before, he and a couple of guys had shown up. Hoodies on. Faces not fully visible, But the walk, the laugh, even the way he flipped off the camera, undeniably him. They treated the yard like a dumping ground. Tossed bottles into the bushes, dragged a trash bag across the lawn, and left like it was some kind of message. I didn't respond. Not right away. I spent a few hours cleaning it all up. I didn't even tell my parents at first. I figured maybe it was a one-time tantrum. It wasn't. The following weekend, it happened again. This time he poured motor oil across the driveway. I had to call a professional cleaner to remove it. Cost me $380. Week after that, someone sprayed something on the garage door. I couldn't tell what it was supposed to say, but it smelled like gasoline. I called the fire department just to be safe. After that, I sent my parents everything. The footage, the receipts, the reports. I didn't ask for help. I didn't ask them to fix it. I just laid it out. They responded the next day. My dad wrote, "We've contacted legal. He's done." Apparently, Ryan had been receiving a small allowance through a secondary trust account. Nothing major, but enough to cover rent and whatever else he needed. They cut that off immediately. Maya left him a week later. No more apartment. No more car, apparently it was in her name. Last I heard, he was crashing on a friend's couch and working at a vape shop in a strip mall. He tried to text me once. Just one word. Congrats. I didn't reply. The house is quiet again. I stop by every couple of weeks now, just to make sure. I sweep the porch, mow the lawn, take out whatever junk the wind blows in. But I never stay too long. I don't need to. My parents don't mention the house anymore. They know I'm done with it. They offered to put me back on the trust. I told them not to. I don't want their money. I just want peace. And now, finally, I have it. I thought that would be the end of it. Ryan was cut off, the house was quiet, and my parents had finally seen the truth. For once, everything seemed settled. But peace doesn't last long in our family. 2 weeks after the last cleanup, I got a notice from the city. Violation, unauthorized refuse accumulation. Penalty, $275. Apparently, someone had dumped old tires and broken fencing materials by the side of the house. Not the front, not the back, just tucked alongside where most people wouldn't see it unless they were looking. City sanitation had flagged it during routine checks. I knew it wasn't random. I reviewed the camera footage. No one approached the property on foot. But then I caught it, a truck driving slowly past the house at 2 a.m. In the brief glow of the streetlight, I saw a familiar dent on the side panel. Ryan didn't even bother hiding the vehicle. He was making a hobby out of this. Petty vandalism. Small enough not to draw serious police attention, but frequent enough to cost me time and money. He wanted to remind me that he was still around. That he still had teeth, even if they were dull now. I didn't call my parents. Not immediately. Instead, I called someone else. A guy named Mitch, who used to do private security for events. He owed me a favor. I asked him to do a drive-by check every few days, no uniform, nothing obvious. Just eyes on the place. Mitch called me 3 days later. Saw him parked across the street, he said. Didn't get out, just sat there for 15 minutes. Then drove off. That was all I needed. I emailed my dad. He's still circling. He's not done. This time, the response came from both parents, jointly signed. We've consulted with legal again. We're issuing a formal cease and desist. If he violates it, we'll escalate. It was firm. Cold. Different from their previous messages, which were always tinged with guilt or hesitation. This one felt final. A few days later, Ryan texted me again. It was longer this time. You poisoned them against me. You think they care about you now? You're just their janitor. I didn't answer. But I saved the message. I got another notice the following week, this time from a landscaping company. Someone had scheduled a bogus appointment under my name, and they'd shown up, done half a job, then billed me for it. When I called to cancel, they said the guy who met them seemed drunk and paid cash up front. The bill was still under my name. I paid it. $120. Not because I had to, but because I wanted a paper trail. I sent the invoice to my parents. Attached the footage. The messages. The surveillance notes. Then I sent them one final email. Cut him off. Completely. Not just the trust. Everything. The next day, my dad called. I picked up. It's done, he said. He's out of everything. Permanently. I didn't ask what that meant, if they'd revoked future inheritance, if they'd frozen every account, if they blocked his number. I didn't care. I just said, good. It's strange. You grow up thinking families fight and forgive. That no matter how bad things get, blood ties hold. But sometimes, it just breaks. And when it does, there's no fixing it. Ryan's gone. I haven't seen or heard from him in over a month now. The house is still standing. Quiet. Clean. My apartment feels more like home now. We're all on our own now. And honestly, I think that's the healthiest this family's ever been. A full month passed without a single word from Ryan. No trash. No oil on the driveway. No strange trucks creeping by the house. It was unsettling, honestly. You don't realize how used to chaos you've become until it disappears. I found myself checking the cameras more out of habit than concern. Every time, it was the same, nothing. Just wind moving the hedges and squirrels darting across the fence. It didn't feel like peace yet. It felt like the calm part in a horror movie where you know something's still out there. Then Maya called. I didn't recognize the number. It went to voicemail. Her voice came through ragged, like she'd been crying or chain-smoking or both. You win. Just so you know. He's lost everything. He's living in some crap motel off I-80 with 2 guys from work. I'm done. Don't bother calling back. I didn't. I listened once, saved it, and filed it away with everything else. The security footage, the invoices, the texts. I had a little folder on my laptop now labeled Ryan stuff. I didn't need it anymore, but I wasn't ready to delete it either. I forwarded the voicemail to my parents without a message. Later that night, my dad replied, "Thank you. We've cut all remaining access. It's over." It sounded final. And maybe it was. According to a lawyer friend I talked to a few weeks earlier, my parents could legally block Ryan from any future financial access, not just the current trust funds, but any inheritance down the line. If he challenged it, he'd have to take them to court. And he didn't have the money, the evidence, or frankly, the brains to do that. Still, I didn't let myself relax just yet. The following Saturday, I swung by the house. Part habit, part maintenance. The front yard was in good shape. I'd hired a local kid to mow the lawn every other week. But the flower beds were a mess again, overgrown and uneven. I spent about an hour pulling weeds, rinsing the walkway, tightening a loose gate hinge, and restocking the security light batteries. It wasn't my house anymore, not really. But I still treated it like it was something worth protecting. Even after everything. That same evening, my mom called. Not a message. A real call. I stared at the screen for a few seconds before answering. She didn't say hello. The first thing out of her mouth was, "We miss you." I stayed quiet. Then she said, "We were wrong. About everything." I didn't argue. I didn't need to. She told me they'd been watching the house through the live feeds I'd left them access to. They saw how I kept showing up, cleaning, repairing, making sure things didn't fall apart. "It's more yours than his. It always was." There was a long pause. Then she said, "I don't expect you to come back and live there. I know you've moved on. But thank you for not giving up on it. Or on us." I didn't know what to say to that either. When the call ended, I sat in the backyard for a while. Same spot where Ryan and his friends used to dump beer cans. It was quiet now. Just the sound of the breeze pushing through the trees, the occasional hum of a passing car. No yelling. No broken glass. No rage. It finally felt like peace. The next day, I cleared the last of the weeds from the back fence. Left a note on the kitchen counter with a checklist for the cleaning service. Locked up and drove back to my apartment. I don't know where Ryan is now. Maya didn't call again. My parents stopped bringing him up. It's like he vanished. Maybe he found another couch to crash on, or maybe he finally realized he burned every bridge he ever walked on. The cameras still run, but I check them less now. There's nothing to see. We're not the same family we were a year ago. The damage doesn't go away just because someone says sorry. But the fire's out. And that's enough. We're all on our own now. Exactly where we need to be. It was a Thursday afternoon when I got the message from my mom. "If you're ever near the house again, there's a small box for you in the upstairs closet. We meant to give it to you before we left. No rush." I didn't think much of it. I was off work that weekend and planned to swing by the house anyway, just to check the gutters. It had rained hard the past week, and the property still needed attention now and then, even if no one lived there. Saturday came, and I parked in the same spot I always did, just off the side of the driveway. It looked still. The kind of stillness that only settles when something's truly over. For a long time, that house had been a battlefield, silent grudges in the walls, damage in the corners no one talked about. Now it was just a house again. I did the usual, walked the perimeter, made sure the windows were locked, hosed off some bird droppings from the patio railing. Then I went upstairs. The closet in the hallway hadn't been touched in months. I opened the door, expecting to find an old shoebox or some forgotten photos. But it was cleaner than I remembered. Just one thing inside, a navy blue box, maybe the size of a large book. No note. No name. Just sealed with a strip of tape. Inside were 3 things. First, a folded envelope with my name on it, written in my dad's blocky handwriting. Second, a ring, our grandfather's, the one my dad used to wear when we were kids. Third, a USB drive. I sat down on the bed and opened the letter. It was short. Matthew, you did what none of us were willing to do. You protected this family, even when we didn't deserve it. We gave Ryan chance after chance because we were afraid of what it meant to give up on a son. But you never once used that to your advantage. You didn't just watch over the house. You watched over us. We're sorry. Love. Dad. I just stared at it for a while. I didn't cry. I didn't feel triumphant. I just felt tired. Not in a bad way. More like that quiet exhaustion you get after finishing something that took everything out of you. The ring, I slipped it into my pocket. The USB, I plugged into my laptop that night back at my apartment. It was a collection of old videos. Me and Ryan as kids. Birthdays, camping trips, Christmas mornings. I didn't even remember some of them. There was one clip, though, where we were maybe 6 and 8, riding bikes down the driveway. We crashed into each other, both fell. And Ryan, covered in grass stains, reached out and helped me up. I watched that one twice. I didn't hear from him again. Not after Maya. Not after the vandalism. Not after the final financial cutoff. It was like he disappeared into some corner of the world that didn't include any of us. And I think that's for the best. The house sits quiet. My apartment feels more like home than it ever did. My parents send a message once every couple of weeks, usually something light, a recipe, a photo from Portugal, updates on their garden. We don't talk about Ryan anymore. We don't need to. Sometimes I wonder if he watches the house, just to see if I'm still checking in. Sometimes I wonder if he'll ever grow out of whatever made him like that. But that's not my problem anymore. We're all on our own now. And for the first time in a long time, that's exactly how it should be.